for the December meeting. And we're going to move on to public relations and communications. Mrs. Ziegler.
Item 2.1, Blackhawk is very proud of our students' achievements, and we encourage extracurricular activities that happen in each grade. Please visit each school's website for updates and happenings in our buildings, including holiday events and concerts. Speaking of concerts, I attended the Biz K through 2 concert last night. The whole entire auditorium was filled, like completely overflowing, and the traffic was crazy. So it was a great concert, and the kids were adorable. So, item 2.2, congratulations to Ali Zernick for being selected Student of the Month for December through the Rotary.
And we also have a number of student recognitions when we get to the athletic extracurricular portion
I
of
think
this.
there's a couple probably that I've seen out there that I forgot to write down.
That's okay.
Maybe we can address next one.
Okay, with that, we'll move into the section of the meeting where the public has an opportunity to address items that are on the agenda for tonight. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to the Finance Committee. And Mrs. Klein, I'd like you to take care of this one tonight.
Okay. It is recommended to approve item 3.2 through 3.4 as presented. 3.1, informational item. I read through these individually, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Monthly insurance report for November is an exhibit. 3.1A, UPMC Health Fund, $336,448.84. UPMC Dental, $9,521.70. UPMC Vision, $739. I continue reading?
Yeah, just read all of them, then we'll
Okay.
talk about them.
3.2, approval is recommended to authorize the treasurer to pay December's payable bills at the treasurer's discretion and to be subsequently approved by the board at the January voting meeting. 3.3, approval is recommended for the financial report for November, which is an exhibit. 3.4, approval is recommended for the payment of bills from October, also an exhibit. A, Fund 10, General Fund, $940,878.30. Fund 32, Capital Projects Fund, $1,250. Bag, 0. Fund 51, Cafeteria Fund, $40,666.77. Fund 66, Health Fund, $870. Payroll in October, $1,221,298.02.
You so move?
Yes.
Is there a second up?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the financial, any of the financial items? Hearing none, I guess we'll roll the roll call vote.
Mr. Hackathorn.
Yes.
Mrs. Helsing.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Dr. McCosey.
Yes.
Mr. Morrison.
Yes.
Mr. Yonke.
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Mr. Battaglia.
Yes.
Mrs. Klein.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Okay, Personnel Committee 4, Mrs. Helsing.
It's recommended to approval, I guess I'll read that one. 4.1, approval is recommended for personnel action retroactive to November 22nd, 2019 regarding ProSoft employee number 1722. 4.2, approval is recommended to employ Brandy McCandless as part-time cafeteria worker effective December 6, 2019 at a rate of $9.38 per hour and all benefits according to PESPA. 4.3, approval is recommended for the MOU between BESPA and Blackhawk School District regarding ProSoft employee 1809. So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Helsing.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Dr. McCosey.
Yes.
Mr. Morrison.
Yes.
Mr. Yonke.
Yes.
Mrs. Ziegler.
Yes.
Mr. Battaglia.
Yes.
Mrs. Klein. Mr. Hackathorn.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Okay, 5, the Education Committee, Ken Yonke.
Sorry.
Number 5, 5.1.
Read that.
Yeah, read 5.1 through 5.3.
Well, it's cheaters here, huh? Items 5.1 through 5.3. Approval is recommended for the following field trips. 7th, 8th grade, 30 students going to Youngstown University. English Festival, Sarah Shaluski, Youngstown, April 24th, 2020, $350, expenses budgeted. Letter B, Service Club, Elmcroft visit, Ryan Hardesty, December 13th, 2019, $65, expenses are budgeted. Blackhawk High School Orchestra, 5 students are going. District Regional PMEA, Eric Baker, March 12th through the 14th, 2020 IUP, and North Allegheny, $500, expenses budgeted. Senior class, pre-apprenticeship business tours, Sammy Hanna, Leesdale, December 13th, and through the 17th. No, and not through. December 13th and 17th, 2019, $1,000. Want me to do them all?
Yeah, and then
All right.
we'll open up for discussion.
Approval is recommended for Morgan Pulling to student teach with Anita Mensch for the 2nd semester. What school is Morgan Pulling from?
Mr. Nelson,
Western Governors School.
Western Governor School.
Graduated from WVU, doing her master's there, and doing her student teaching here.
Thank you.
5.3, approval is recommended for Megan Rogers to interim with Bob Abel for the 2nd semester.
You so move?
And I so move that we approve those.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I will have a recommendation at the next board meeting on how to handle these. I think there's another way to do it, but I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on it. All right. My suggestion is going to be that we have a budget. See, I don't think you need to vote on this, in my opinion. That doesn't make me right.
Now, Mr. Yonke is correct. If we budgeted items and the budget is approved and passed in June, those items are included in the budget that was prepared and presented. We do put them on here because historically they've been put on here, and I didn't want to run into a situation where people felt that I wasn't being transparent, as the word is thrown around quite a bit, and then that come back to be my mistake. But if the board would like to have all budgeted items that were approved in June, not included every month, because the majority of all the trips are included in the budget. That would reduce.
What I would like to see
Quite a bit.
done, though,
Yes.
is the principals meet with you
Yes, they do.
and have a share of that budget. So the budget is divided up, whatever you think is fair, 30, 30, 40, something like that. You have
Oh.
3 levels.
No, the principals meet with the business office and myself several times in the next several months. They've already have a timeline put out there to get their budgets to their departments, their grade levels, and then they collect that. Then their offices compile it. Then they send it to the business office to be put into the ProSoft system. Then we run that out. Then they have to come in and go over all of the items in the budget
Dr.
and what to
Pontipac,
put.
I understand the mechanics of it.
Yes.
I'm talking about the distribution. I think the distribution ought to be 30% of whatever is budgeted, approved by the board, would go to the elementary, and 30% would go to the middle school, and 40% would go to the secondary. Something like that, that's all.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Because I see an inordinate distribution occurring in the past and present.
Okay. All right,
All right?
I will do that.
Any
Well, I
further?
have a question for
Yes.
that, though, is I know that when teachers submit their requests, then there's the process, and they get approved by the board, and that's how I
My-
know that their stuff is approved. So what would the process be then for
If-
teachers?
If it would please the board, we will create a list of all budgeted approved trips. The same forms would be filled out, the list would be created, and it would be part of an addenda, just part of informational items on the board
Okay.
agenda, so that you knew these were the trips. I like the board to see that, I like the board to know they're going, because heaven forbid something occurs while they're off campus. The board is aware of that, because if something occurs and if there is litigation, the first thing they're gonna come back and say is, was the board aware you sent people here? And they will be asking you that. That's why I will create an informational item that looks similar to these A through Qs. It will be that they were budgeted and that they are informational items. It will still include the backup, but it'll be a separate document other than being on the voting agenda.
And I would be interested in reading the report after they go and come back, tell us, what was.
Any
what the
reports
values were.
provided, we will do that, absolutely. Okay, I can do that moving forward. That is appreciated. It reduces this.
Any further discussion in anything in section 5? Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Dr. McCosey,
Yes on 5.1B, 5.2, and 5.3, no on A, C, and D.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mr. Yonke,
Yes,
Mrs. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Battaglia,
Yes.
Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Heckathorn.
Yes.
And Mrs. Helson.
Yes.
That motion does carry.
Okay, moving on to 6, buildings and ground, real estate, there's no report. Number 7, athletic committee, Mr. Jones.
Approval is recommended for item 7.1 as presented. Approval is recommended to appoint Carlin Buwara as assistant track coach pending clearances. Supplemental contract, $3,199.50. Item 7.2, congratulations to the following football players for their Northwest 8 All-Conference recognition. Marquise Watson Trent, James Darno, first team defense. Ryan Heckathorn, Josh Butcher, Kyle Davison, second team defense. Tom Smith, honorable mention defense. Raymond Canale, honorable mention special teams. Marquise Watson Trent, Kyle Davison, first team offense. Ryan Heckathorn, Max Martin, James Darno, second team offense. Logan Peterson, Vince Grateri, Matt Ranza, honorable mention offense. Marquise Watson Trent, offensive player of the year. And I will make a side note that this is the second year in a row that our team made it to the second division.
We should have a round of
Playoffs.
applause for these students,
Yeah.
please. Much like we had Mr. and Mrs. Fleshman's son last month participating in a very high-level strings instrument, we have many of our athletes here doing a nice job and competing at a very high level and receiving recognition for that. The number of students at Blackhawk that receive recognitions in various programs is outstanding. Sometimes people want to pigeonhole schools as being athletic only. Your school district has students being distinguished in the arts, the fine arts, acting, those types of things in the actual art itself field, as well as athletics and music and choral. So you do a great job here. Once again, your students are recognized in various areas. So congratulations to these kids and all the kids.
Exactly.
Great job.
I want to make a recommendation to approve item 7.1.
Have it.
You so move.
I so move.
Is there a second? Melissa seconds. Any discussion on 7.1?
I had a separate question, Dr. Prospect. Why don't we participate in Mancini Awards?
That is a decision made by the director and the staff of the musical. There have been several different Mancini Awards renditions in the past probably 5 years. Many schools have backed out. They opened it up to a larger audience and they changed the criteria. They've now started to move toward the size of the school musical and the money spent on the musical by putting it in classifications, because in the past you had schools that were competing that were spending 3 or 4 times the money that other schools were spending on their musical. And of course, you could imagine having professional actors, professional vocal people helping, professional lighting and sound would make a difference than your local kids running stage crew. So this district made a decision many years ago to not participate in a program that purely was looking at an issue that we weren't competing in. We wanted our kids to just go out and do their best here for themselves. So they made that decision many years ago. And I would continue to support the decision of the fine arts program and the musical director and their staff.
Are there scholarships available for that? That's on.
I don't know of any student that has received a scholarship through the Mancini program, but I'm sure there are scholarships for things I'm sure I don't know about.
Well-
But I don't know of any student that has received like a theatrical scholarship. There are music scholarships
You
available.
do get, I mean, if you win the Mancini's, you do get to go to New York and
Yes.
perform.
But
and-
that is
and
limited to a small
very-
group of
yeah, like
people.
two
Yes.
out of the whole,
So that's their,
Two schools or two students?
two students.
Two students.
The top actress and actor.
and understand you're competing against some professional schools now and some charter schools that spend year-round time preparing for this. So it becomes very difficult, and they have very talented students everywhere. And, you know, we're fortunate to have a dance program here that meets 8th period, and then they have a dance group here in the evenings. So and then they choreograph the musicals, so we're lucky to have that. Most schools don't have that opportunity either. So we do a good job with that.
Any
That's the
additional,
explanation.
any other discussion on 7.1? What was that, John?
Nothing.
Okay. Roll
Dr.
call.
McCosy,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison.
Yes.
Mr. Yonke,
Yes,
Mrs. Ziegler,
Yes.
Mr. Battaglia,
Yes.
Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Heckathorn.
Yes.
Mrs. Helson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
That motion carries, sir.
Thank you. Moving on to number 8, Administrative Liaison, Mr. Heckathorn,
no report?
correct? Okay, moving on to number 9, Transportation Committee, Dr. McCosy.
I said no.
Oh, I didn't hear you, I'm sorry. 10, Food Service Committee, Dr. McCosy.
Wait, what's that?
Dr. McCosy, number 10,
Oh, no report.
correct.
These are all no report.
All right, Negotiations Committee, Mr. Jones.
No report.
Policy Committee, Mrs. Ziegler.
No report.
Board and Staff Enrichment, Mrs. Helsing.
No report.
Beaver County Career and Technology, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, there's a informational item in there, in your handouts. If you care to read it, it's about some of the things that are going on down there. One of the things is articulation agreement with Precision Manufacturing Institute, where they will be offering 8 credits based on criteria set forth in our articulation agreement with Beaver County Career Technical Machine Tool Technology Program. And this is pretty impressive because the tool technology program was one of the classes that they were looking at maybe cutting down there. So this is, it's on for another year for sure. So
That's good.
And it's a very, you know, they do a lot of great things down there. Then there's another articulation agreement with California University of Pennsylvania. They'll offer 3 college credits to our veterinary assistant students based on the criteria established in the articulation. So these kids can earn these credits while they're going to high school. So this is, and we do this at our own school in many different, you know, we have many students graduate with college credits out of here. So it's very good stuff.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to Intermediate Unit, Mr. Yonke, number 15,
I have no report on that.
that informational item. There's an informational item in our packet, I think, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on to 16, PSBA Legislative Committee, Mrs. Klein.
No report?
Okay, moving on to additional business. At this time, do any visitors would like to make any comments about anything regarding the school district?
No report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to administration.
On behalf of the administration, I'd like to thank everyone, welcome those who retained their seat or ran and received the seat. We appreciate your service and certainly keeping the district, moving forward and looking out into the future. You guys have done a great job with that. We appreciate the support and certainly the support that the solicitor gives us. So on behalf of the administration and the school board, I would like to thank everyone and wish you all happy holidays as we roll into that season rather quickly. Thank you.
It looks like we forgot to have the student rep on here. Do you have any comments or anything you'd like to share with us?
Yes, so I wanted to tell you all that the musical practices are all well underway now, and that all the winter sports have now started and are working hard to prepare for their upcoming competitions. And next week, most of the holiday concerts, both choral and instrumental, will be taking place.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on to the solicitor.
Again, thanks to the board and administration for your support retaining our firm. I also want to extend my good wishes to Eric, who is retiring. I've had the pleasure of working with Eric in other districts as well as here, and I wish him well.
And I'll add to that, there is cake available in the back, so we can all have a moment with Eric and listen to a couple stories that he would like to tell, I'm sure.
Couple.
We'll limit him to a couple.
Did you bring your sleeping bags?
So please, everybody in the audience as well as the board, please join us to just wish Eric well. And for all the staff, I'm sure there'll be other activities occurring later in the month to wish Eric well. I'm sure this is not the last we'll see of Eric. I'm pretty sure.
Is this your last official meeting?
This is his last official meeting, yes.
Wow.
Stand up, Eric.
What will I do without being in these wonderful meetings?
They're open to the public. They're open.
All right, you guys going to be playing and recording in the district office to
WBU.
keep the noise level.
I'll be out of Morgantown.
Okay, next is school directors.
I had a couple of things real quick. First of all, speaking of our musical and our music department, the Tri-Am Music Honor Society is presenting Night on Broadway. That's December 14th at 6 p.m. Tickets are $20 a person. This, the fundraiser goes towards updating and improving the high school stage. So this is something they've done for several years. It's a great dinner that is put on. The students completely plan it, all the students in Tri-M. So I brought everybody a order form for tickets, probably just for I think I might have enough for board members. And second is, I don't know if you saw it online, but this is all the musical department concerts for the month. Like I said, I attended last night's. I plan on attending as many as I can because kids do like to see you. The kids are adorable. And next week, I think next Thursday, is the choral concert, like Luana said. So, and there's a bunch of other concerts on there too. So, thank you.
Can I piggyback something on that? Is that already my saying something?
Well, yes, you've already begun, so we might as well let you.
I'm sorry. This Sunday at 4 o'clock in downtown Youngstown, we have, I think, 8 Blackhawk students now that are part of the Youngstown Youth Symphony Orchestra. So our concert is at 4 o'clock on Sunday at the Dior Powers Auditorium in Youngstown, and it's lovely. And the fact that Blackhawk has 8 students in this is just wonderful. It's mostly students from Ohio, Mahoning County mostly. It's about 175 maybe, and 8 of them being from Blackhawk. Only Blackhawk, I think there might be 1 student from Beaver and several from Lincoln Park. Everyone else is from Ohio. So it's a lovely event also. It's about an hour concert. Really, really talented students. So if you're looking for something to do on Sunday, just want to let you know. Thank you.
Darren, you're missing a call.
Oh, am I?
Anything else?
Yeah, I have something. Whenever you get done.
Are you done, Melissa?
Oh, I'm done, yeah. Paul said he had something.
And I'll get to you, Paul.
Okay.
Okay. I want to thank Eric also. I called Eric to go over the bills with him, and I guess I have 2 questions. Thank you, Eric. It was really, you cleared up a lot of the questions that I had. And you didn't have to look it up. You have it all up there in your head.
Close.
So we might have to call on you once in a while.
Okay.
What will be the disposition in the future for the board members to?
Beginning in
Mark.
January, Cottrell will have a person dedicated to attend meetings and to be available to discuss any budgetary or financial items that a board would like. They also have an email that if you send the email to and would request the contact or, a meeting, they will also set that up with you. We have 2 people that have been working approximately 80 hours in the past 3 weeks, going through the office, working with Eric and working with the office to dig through the protocols and procedures in the office. And again, I have to report, Eric did a wonderful job over the years getting the budgetary items, all the line items of a budget where they belong. That was not the case prior to his arriving several years ago. And the office staff does a great job in there because other than needing to just create the job, each role the person would play and how that Cottrell will play that role. They will be here probably 4 days per week, so they'll be available throughout the day. They have a person coming in with HR and a person coming in for accounts payable.
You'll give us that contact person?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That'll all be done right after Christmas. Absolutely. Yes, and they're right here in the office.
Okay, one other question. Darren, why are the windows open almost every room at BIS? Could you explain that to us?
There's no control system in BIS for regulating heating and air conditioning. It's a pneumatic system with so many leaks and diaphragms that are blown out. I actually, when I first came on board, brought a company in to try to get that back in line, and they said, Darren, it's beyond repair. It needs to be replaced. We need to
The univents are all bad?
No, the control system. So
It's all the controls?
It's all
You say it's pneumatic?
pneumatic controls.
Right.
And there's so many leaks and there's so many bad diaphragms, so much bad equipment. So what we're going to do, starting tomorrow, Monday, we're going to try to go through there and begin to close some of the valves that regulate the amount of hot water that flows through the fin tubes and flows through the unit heaters to try to reduce that situation. But there is no real control. The way it is right now, when a teacher wants heat at BIS, they slide a little metal disc out of the way and they reach their hand inside the cabinet and they turn a toggle switch on or off. That's the best I can do because there is no control system.
What about the air exchange? How many times, I don't remember, Dr. Posbeck, you might know that. Is it 4 times or 6 times per hour?
The air exchange in the BIS building?
Yes.
I would not have the specifications for the air exchange.
Okay, we could
but I
ask
do know
our
that
architect knows that.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. With the age of the building, I'm going to imagine whatever the air exchange is, it would not be appropriate for this day and age should you be replacing it. That's part of the problem with replacing systems. You have to bring them up to current standards, and that cost is quite expensive. You could not put in the same system that's there now. The air exchange is certainly, 20 years old, and that causes the problem. But with the leaks in the system and the lack of pure vacuums, the air exchange can't be anywhere near efficient.
Well, this is important because we're getting into the winter and the cold season for children.
Yep.
Germs being spread and everything. I think we need to know how we're going to address that.
Well, our bigger concern and why we run it is because all the univents are stuck on the outside of the building. We've had them freeze, crack, and leak. So Darren and his crew have gone extensively through to close and insulate the vents on the outside to prevent the cold air from blowing over the univent piping system, and then as much as they can insulate the pipes. But if we have another leak, so what happens is like over the winter break when we don't have school and there's no employee here for a number of days and it's cold, Darren will call an employee out to walk the building several times a day. They go through and walk it for about an hour checking all of that, because if a leak starts and we don't catch it, it could run for 3 days. That's why it has to remain on, because if we turn them down too low, they end up freezing and cracking. But Mr. Yonke's right. If you make it too warm in the building, you're just perpetuating those cold and flu viruses because you don't get it cool enough. So it's kind of like a light switch in there. It's either on or it's off.
Yeah, you're 100% correct, and so are you.
Yeah.
We have, and this was identified in the CAC documents, that we have a very bad system there. It is uncontrolled. We can control a motor with a switch, but we can't control much more than that. And what we're going to do is start to close these valves down to reduce the amount of flow through these fin tubes, to try to pull less heat off of those fin tubes, to try to make that better. I'm embarrassed by it. I'll be the first one to tell you. I'm certainly not proud of that. But that is the building
Well,
that
we have to start with a plan, because something has to be done with that. Whenever we had open house the last time when I was on the board, I went into a room, it was like 80-some degrees. I went into the room next to it, and it was below 70.
Yeah, I can't speak to that,
I
but I
mean,
can.
I didn't understand, so
We
that
do
has
have
to be
one
controls.
room right above the
It's
boiler
not the
room.
boiler.
There's one room right above the boiler room that is very hot. And then there are other rooms that are not as bad, and there are some, they leave the windows open. I'm certainly embarrassed by that.
Well, it's not a question of being embarrassed. That's not your fault. All right, let's go with, what is the regulation? The regulation is a turnover, I think, of 6 times an hour. Now, we don't want to get cited for that.
No,
We
absolutely
would not be cited because the building was built within code, and the building passed and has an occupancy notice. Because the building has aged and doesn't cycle up to the current standards, they won't hold you to those. It's when you start replacing the system that you have to meet the current standards. Much like if you have a building that isn't completely
Dr. Prospect,
ADA.
I hear what you're saying.
Right.
I would rather hear it from David Esposito. I mean, what our terms and conditions are there. Because I don't like this situation at all.
The cost to repair it is what the CAC discussed for a year. And we will continue to discuss that next month.
Exactly.
But at this point, there is no repair to that you can afford, unless you're doing a complete renovation of the building. That's the repair.
Yeah, I mean, and until we decide what we're doing moving forward, there's.
I'm just saying, the control systems run the whole building, there's not a control system that runs the building, there's controls throughout the whole building. It's not a minor repair, it's an entire system. And if you're gonna change all the controls, you have to then change the HVAC system. And maybe the boiler and maybe the chiller, which, that's the whole system. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, the pneumatics there, what, 92?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So, you know,
And
that's how.
I did bring in as good a company as I could find. And they said, I got the guy for you. We're gonna get over there and we're gonna take a look. And there has been so many rerouting and changes and things that have gone on that the guy threw his hands up like, I've never seen anything like this.
And the Patterson building is in the same situation.
Absolutely.
It has the same circulation problem, it has the same era heating and ventilation, it has the same pneumatic system.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same exact situation.
We do much better in air conditioning at Biz, I think, than heating. We overheat the building.
Yeah, but if we don't, we may freeze it, crack it,
Oh,
and flood
absolutely,
it.
yeah. Oh,
So then I have a different problem.
Oh, absolutely. If I were to close one of these valves, I'm talking about dampering back, I could then have a frozen water line.
Did you say you sealed it off from the outside now?
Yes.
What kind of, did you use it, what kind of insulation did you
Tin.
use?
There's tin.
Tin?
Mhm.
Is there anything else between the tin and the?
There's a louver, there's a piece of tin, and then on the inside, there's a unit ventilator.
This is one of the things we did look at in that CAC study, because the building, just like Dr. Boschbeck said, Patterson, they're both in need of some significant amount of work.
Well,
This is some of the
discuss that
stuff
another
we
time.
faced.
Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Anything else from the board members?
Yeah,
Paul?
I'd like to comment. It was the first time I had the opportunity to be part of the senior projects with the student interviews. And I thought it was awesome. I was really impressed with the poise of the seniors and just the way they carry themselves and presented themselves that day. So I just want to say great job to the staff and all the way from middle school on up to high school, and just teaching the kids how to be poised in public speaking and being able to present themselves appropriately. And it's just going to set them up for success as they go into college and then or the workforce. So I just want to say great job. Thanks.
I was impressed by how many community members were there. Like,
Yeah, it was
it's really great that the community comes in and does it. It was my first year too, so it's great.
Anything else?
I just
Neil,
want
can I say something?
let him go
Can
first.
you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to wish everybody there, administrative, audience, all the directors, happy holiday season. And I'd like to thank Eric. He's only on board for 2 years, but I know even before that, going to the meetings and stuff, I said, to know him pretty well. And good luck to you, Eric, in your retirement.
Right.
That's all. Thank you. Everybody have a happy new year also.
Thanks,
You too,
John.
John.
I just wanted to say thank you for the warm welcome to the board that I've received. Thank you to Missy for helping, answer some of my questions over the past couple weeks, and I really look forward to serving the Blackhawk community. We've certainly established wonderful traditions here, and obviously we're just an excellent district, and I am honored to be a part of this and helping it to go forward.
Thank you.
So I have you.
And I'd like to thank the public for coming to attend this meeting tonight. We really appreciate that. It's always good to see a lot of attendance here so people are aware of what's going on in our school district. So thank you for that. And just on a personal note for myself, I would just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And always remember at this season, what the real meaning is behind Christmas. So please don't lose sight of that. And moving on here, the next meeting is January 9th at the high school here at 7 p.m. I'd like to, anybody want to volunteer to make a requested adjournment, complete the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
You make a motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
Got it.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And there is no executive session this evening after this meeting, so enjoy the rest of your night.